The person to first propose the cognitive dissonance theory was an American psychologist named Leon Festinger back in 1957. Mr. Leon Festinger was trying to acknowledge the people that understanding that their trust and actions, they don't go together. They don't mix at all. His main goal was to experiment on the people or the person and see how it'll make them feel and see themselves having discomfort feelings when their two or more thoughts contradicted with each other. It includes their ideas, their beliefs, or their values, or acknowledging. His theory proposed that when we take our emotions and the way we act is to have peacefulness. And we try to keep it separate because peacefulness and negative stuff, they don't combine at all. For example, if you get accepted in a job in a country and have to reject the job or turn it down just to be close to your loved ones, you will still feel the dissonance. The reason why is because since you rejected the job or turned down the job, it's because you will go out of the country and you'll get to see nature like mountains, streams, etc. Or perhaps if you had taken the job, you will miss the people that love you.
Cognitive dissonance is a term used to describe a mental state of discomfort that is caused by a clash of one's conflicting beliefs, attitudes, or values. Cognitive dissonance is often confused as hypocrisy, but while both are similar, they are quite different. In hypocrisy, a person behaves differently from their supposed beliefs, but cognitive dissonance is a state of mind that your behavior leaves you in when you really do hold conflicting beliefs. Cognitive dissonance is basically your mind trying to justify why you would act differently from the way you would normally. Your brain is trying to compensate and find a way to make your action seem understandable. For example, cognitive dissonance can occur during something called forced compliance behavior. Forced compliance is simply the act of doing something that you don't want to do, but doing it regardless. Your mind may be put into a state of discomfort afterwards, which is cognitive dissonance, and will result in you having to find reasons why you did what you did in order to put your mind at ease. Cognitive dissonance doesn't have to come from just a faulty choice or physically doing something, though. You can get it from working towards something or putting an effort. Imagine working towards a goal you've wanted for a long time, and when you finally achieve it, you find that it wasn't something you wanted. Your mind will try to cover up that discomfort that you feel towards that result by trying to convince you that you didn't really put in that much effort, or you didn't even really spend that much time on it. This means that cognitive dissonance is your mind's way of forcing you to justify your actions to avoid feeling the negative emotions the actions caused. Now that you know what cognitive dissonance is, you're probably wondering why we experience it.
Cognitive dissonance refers to the mental conflict that occurs when a person's behavior and beliefs do not align. We experience cognitive dissonance when our beliefs contradict one another. Throughout our lives, we always thought our beliefs were right, but when they are questioned, we either have to change our attitudes or argue over something that is wrong. This creates disagreement with the mind. People like consistency, and they want the assurance that their values and beliefs have always been right. When their behavior is not aligned with their beliefs, this creates dissonance. The degree of cognitive dissonance depends on the size of disparity and the value and type of the belief. When you experience it, you will encounter uncomfortable feelings such as stress, anxiety, regret, and embarrassment. You will start to feel bad about yourself and you'll always second think about your decisions. This can be both good and bad. For example, people that smoke know smoking is bad for them, but they still do it anyways. Their minds try to adjust to what is bad is good. Another example is when you're on a diet. You try so hard not to eat foods that are bad for you, but you still do it anyways, saying that you'll work out extra hard later. As you can see, cognitive dissonance is when our mind creates disagreement to what is right.
So I researched the good and bad effects that cognitive dissonance has on a person, and according to Nolis, a clinical assistant at NYU Langone Health in New York City, cognitive dissonance can help a person understand themselves better along with what type of values they have. When you recognize an internal conflict, it often leads to you getting a good grasp on personal values and beliefs, along with how much those things matter to you. It can be a positive experience when you work to find the cognitive dissonance in your life. It can also allow you to grow trust in yourself and your decision making. However, recognizing cognitive dissonance can also be mentally exhausting and troublesome. Cognitive dissonance can make a person feel many negative emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, regret, sadness, shame, and stress. When you hold a certain belief and values, but then you act in a way that opposes those values, it can cause internal discomfort. And internal discomfort isn't what most people would think of, like your organs or anything like that. It's more of a mental and emotional discomfort. And this will make a person subconsciously work very hard to ignore that. And it can cause negative emotions. And as I said before, it's also mentally exhausting and not healthy. This is coming from Alana Curry, a psychiatrist with the Road Network in Houston.
Today we've learned about the history behind cognitive dissonance, what cognitive dissonance is, how it can affect us, and why we experience it. Cognitive dissonance can affect everyone, and it plays an important role in our decision making. It may seem negative, but it also can change a person's judgments and behaviors to which will help them grow in a positive way. When learning to conflict beliefs and actions, people can adjust their habits and behaviors in line with their values.